Great, so we have everything in place. Welcome back. So yes, as I was saying, the reason why I do this workshop is because during events everybody is on their phone, everybody's checking their Insta, they're figuring out what their friends are putting up on the story, trying to minimize things. And just for the fact that how social media transcends beyond that, it's not only for you, but like the whole idea of social media being that it's out there in the society, like it's a new level, a new dimension of social exchange. I started doing this still at a very nascent stage in India, where we are trying to look at like inclusion and accessibility in the digital space. But the idea was, how do we create something that leads to more inclusive spaces? I have already spoken about the genesis of Access for All when I was giving my talk, but just for those who I'm meeting right now, I run this organization called Access for All. And Access for All is a consultancy that provides solutions for disability access. And we don't have only one format, but we work across. So if it is making your buildings accessible to like implementing a project that any partner would want on ground, or working across lengths and breadths across India and other countries. And likewise, we've been one of the leading organizations in India and also been awarded a national level award. And this last year, National Geography did a small documentary on us, like covering our work in the domain of DEI, disability inclusion. I'll stand at the side so you can see it clearly. And while these are some of the works that we do, website and digital accessibility services are something that we are pushing for and we are working towards in that space. But before we get into it, it is important to understand like what are the pillars of accessibility, inclusion, and one of them being diversity. Important to understand the wide range that we have of people over here, like in the classroom, right? Like we all can easily get, if we were segregating and if we were understanding categorization, we could have multiple ways of understanding those layers of information. But that's what diversity stands for. This, I feel, is a very important thing because a lot of organizations battle between this word of equity and equality. So the second slide shows a picture with two different things. One that focuses on the word equality. The term equality means that I speak with all of you in the same language, right? But for the fact that this event would not have any Arabic translations or no English translations when Arabic things are on, because it is only giving equal service to everyone. But you need to understand, you read the room and you realize if somebody needs visual description, if somebody would want other things. And the second picture over here that you see represents equity. And equity is understanding the individual and providing as per the needs of the people and their requirements. So in this image, you see a fence that is built and you have a football field and everybody standing on the same stool. There is a man, there is a small girl, and there is a boy on a wheelchair. But the stool is not useful, but as you can see in the face of equity, you make it more accessible by the elements of providing easy access to read somewhere. If you make sure that somebody needs to, you provide that. Now, how does it work for you in educators, with people who are working? This is one way of segmenting your own audience, right? Yes, and you understand through the segmentation of like, okay, I need to cater to, but the space of inclusion is a space of mass customization, I like to call it that way, because not one size fits all, right? And in that, how do you bring in your best design challenges? How do you bring it forward to make sure that you're able to reach out to a wider group of people? Please remember that, and this is my personal understanding, that there is no such thing as like 100% accessible, because every time you do something, something will change, the needs will change, we evolve over a period of time, right? Today I could have been here and हमारी पोतानी language में अपन बोली सकते हो, and I would have spoken in my own language, and with the devices you all could have heard that. That's the power of technology that we have. And I feel somewhere we all have been, the speaker before me and like in other sessions, we all are talking about similar things but approaching it from different angles. So you may have certain overlaps, but there are other things that will be of use for you. The third slide over here gives an introduction to the term inclusion, which means that to what extent you are ready to go and engage with that. So if you are working and you realize that you have a customer base of a certain age group, are you in the space to change and like change your content around that, provide more things for them to engage while retaining others in the space? Or as educators, how inclusive are you ready to get into, where you know that if your certain students need printed text, are you keen on like printing it out and providing it in the space, where like also trying to figure out that you're being sustainable and everything is given over the over emails. So there are different things that one has to counter and figure out what works. And lastly, when all these things come together, you create a sense of belonging. And I think this is one of the most important things, because diversity, equity, equality and inclusion put together gives you this sense of belonging. And belonging is where you can do what you want without in the same space, but without being able to feel that you need to fit in. Like you don't have to pressurize yourself to fit in that space. Okay. So just some tips about like how do you get started in an inclusive space. So do you all have your phones with you? Yeah. I assume that you all use Instagram?
Yes.
Yes? Anyone who's not using Instagram here? Okay. You want to go on your Insta profile, and do you want to check your Insta profile and see if you have your pronouns added? No? Would you like to put in your pronouns there?
No.
No? You don't want to put your pronoun?
Why?
So that nobody will make an assumption, and then it is put, your pronouns are like how would you want to be addressed, right? So it's again a choice that you make whether you want to put in, because say a word like, there is this common word in India called Kamal, Kamla. It gets mixed between that. A lot of people when they read the word Kamal, it does not need to be an A, but it can be assumed that it's for a man or for a woman. But and then an email is sent out. I have a friend, her name is Kamal, but she doesn't write the A, and every time she gets an email saying, "Dear sir," da 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 da. Now that's the idea of like how do you go beyond the space of assumption. So in this workshop, we are trying to look at like how can you make your first, in order to be inclusive, you need to get inclusive and show that approach. So nobody is forced to do anything, it's a free space. So you did it? Oh, fantastic. Second is also looking at when you're putting out content, right? Like, is the content more neutral? Is it balanced? Because sometimes if you see the content it's very focused on a particular gender or a type, and then you don't want to do that. You don't, like if I was to walk in this class and say like what my friend yesterday spoke about, right? Hey guys, I don't think that would work over here, right? Like, and it's like categorizing and using that term and like segregating. But if you were to integrate like the words that you would use, folks, high people, like, or like the group or the team, like there are words that are more collective and more inclusive. Even certain words that are changing across in the space, and a lot of educational institutes are also changing, is moving away from the terminology like chairman, it's like become a chairperson. You would have those kind of terminologies that are changing in workspace too. In India, we no longer, like we work in the space where we're working with artisans and craftsmen. We no longer use the word craftsman, we use it as craftsperson, because this was brought up in one government exhibition that was showcasing all the traditional folk artists, and they had this massive banner that said craftsmen from one Orissa, which is a state, but now all people under that were like females because they specialized in that craft. So how do you also give the due diligence and make sure that everyone is identified and put on the platform as did before? So that's where the communication starts, and post that we get into the space of social media communication. So now I've just divided this into 3 simple categories, and in order to get started, like 45 minutes is too less a time to like do everything. But now if you're looking at visual disability, in this particular segment of visual disability, it becomes important to either comprehend the information or the information that's there, how do you understand, like what are the elements that you understand, and there are different ways of doing that. But before we do that, can I request 3 of you, if you want to volunteer and come here and give a visual description of your own self, or you want me to pick up? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can come here. And can everyone close their eyes, please, and just listen to the visual description that they are going to give about themselves. I'm going to give them a mic so that we have. Okay, we're going to start with eyes closed. Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Kautar, and to describe myself I have short black hair. I'm wearing a white t-shirt with a bunch of... Okay, that's not very a good description. I'm wearing blue jeans and yellow Converses, and I'd say my height is medium height. And yeah, I think that's pretty much...
Okay. Keep your eyes closed, okay? No cheating.
Okay.
How about your own side? Visually describing yourself.
Okay, so I'm wearing a colorful sandal. It's like red, orange, yellow, blue, and beige. I'm wearing white jeans, a wide leg white jeans, and then a lined designed shirt with a lady holding a red umbrella, and I'm veiled. I wear a white veil, and I'm wearing 3 bracelets. One is colorful, the other is blue, and the third is black and holding my name.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
pretty
thank
good.
you. And last one.
Hi, I'm Miles. I'm 73 years old. I wear glasses. I've got a blue check shirt, green or beige trousers, depending on whether you're colourblind or not, and blue shoes. And I'm from the UK.
Thank you. Okay. So, if you were to open your eyes now, and we have your friends around, anyone wants to take a guess?
I can guess that there was this one.
There was one, that one.
And the third one.
Okay.
And the second one.
Okay. So, how important was color for you to recognize them? Was color an important medium of filter to
The hair was matching black.
hair? Okay.
And then.
You want to do this, so everyone can hear you.
Okay. So I recognized you through your black hair. I also recognized him, age group, and colors.
Yeah.
Okay, I recognized her not 100%, but I noticed that when she described colors, multiple lines, and blue and white.
So now we also have another team member here, and may I please know your name? Hi, may I know your name? Rana.
Yes.
Would you like, based on your, I'm just holding the mic closer to you.
Yes.
Yeah. In your experience, would you like to talk about how important is color in visual description? Is it of any help so that everyone could benefit from this?
Yes, of course. I have imagination of colors. So, like for example, I love the red color and the pink color.
Okay.
I love it a lot. And I like the black hair. I also like the blonde hair, but more than brown,
Okay.
you know. So yeah, colors are meaningful for me, although I cannot see them. I only, if you want to know more, I see light.
Okay.
So I see that if you wear a dark color or a bright color, but I cannot detect what is the color. I only see that like shades, you know.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Raina, right? Rana. Okay. So while we do that, and just simplifying it here on your, if you all, again, please use your phones to go on your Instagram and just pick up any one picture that you have uploaded. Any one picture. And if you click on edit, please let me know when everyone has reached the point where they can see edit. Okay, and when you click edit, do you see thing that says add all text? No, no, not the profile picture, your image. Yes, edit all text. Can everyone read edit all text? Can somebody please read out what is the description mentioned under that?
ALT text describes your photo for people with visual impairments.
Okay. So, one very important thing to add that you could do for your businesses or for your own images that you're putting in, you could put in a visual description or an alt text, which is an abbreviation for alternative text. Please remember, alternative text is not the caption. A lot of times people do this mistake of putting the caption that they have in their caption part and they copy paste the same thing over there, and it doesn't make any sense. It is not very useful, it doesn't help anyone. So what we are going to do is, so when you look at this, right, there is an interesting understanding of this one image that is put up on my screen that says, there's a picture of a cat, and if somebody was using a screen reader, it would only say the file name. It says img_58 but if there was an alternative text that was written for that, it would read it out for the person. So if you can take this time and, like, at least with the first 2 or 3 images that you have, if you can edit your alt text over there, yeah, we can take around 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah. Yes, and then your friend can see all your things. Yeah, click on your picture, the 3 dots, edit, add alt text. And if you have a carousel of pictures, if you have like 4 pictures, 7 pictures together, you can, for each one you should be able to do it. So, yeah? You've already done it? Yeah? On the screen reader, so they have their device, yeah? Yes, so Instagram, you will have, so any device that they're using, so even your regular phone setting, if you change the setting to, yeah, text to speech, it reads. Yeah, it would read the alt text. Yes. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. But so, yes, so there's an interesting question. Yes. So there's an interesting question about, after you put the alt text, why do you not see it? Because you don't see the alt text because it is meant to read out for someone who is reading, who would be using the screen reader software. So it won't come up, don't worry, your alt text will not pop up anywhere. But say for example, if I was scrolling through your image online, if I was seeing it on the web and my Wi-Fi connectivity was less, hello. If my Wi-Fi connectivity was low, I could read what is mentioned over there, and if the picture is not loaded, so still I can at least have some format of engagement. Yeah, okay. So there was somebody who, in the pronouns, if you want to find where the pronouns are, for that you'll have to edit your profile. So under edit profile, you will have your separate segment for pronouns. Anyone finding it? You've done it? Yes? No. They're doing on their phone. Thank you.
Question.
Yes?
So, if we add also too much info, it can be also too much confusing.
Yes,
Like,
so-
for example, if I add caption and alt text, so the screen reader will read the caption and the alt text. So,
Yes, but so your caption will only give the vibe of the thing, because sometimes, depending on what your captions are talking about, if your caption, say for example, we're working also with a fashion brand that sells accessories, and if their caption is going to be what they are selling, right? hairbands for $50, blah 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 blah. Is that the question that you want to do? So in the alt text you would have a description of what color is your hairband or what color is it. So you learn to use that. There are some people who we are working with are kind of figuring out a way to how do you blend the gap between the caption and the alt text and utilize a universal tool that can be focused. So while the caption gets read, you don't then need, because then you automatically know. Some of the people that, just one second, some of the people that I also know, they from the community, they also add their alt text in their captions, in their comments, because sometimes if that is not, if the person cannot read through on the screen reader, at least they can read the same description in the comment. Yeah.
Yes, my question was new technology, ChatGPT for the version 4. You can upload a photo and it could briefly describe what's inside this photo. Would this be an alternative of
Yeah, it is. Even if you use on Microsoft, you get auto-generative alt text, which they do for your PowerPoint presentations. But say for example, now it won't, because it depends on what picture what is it that you are showing in that picture, and then there might be some detail that you want to edit. So you can use that as a framework, and then you can just bring in other changes that you need to do or fine tune it. Yeah. Okay. Second set of information that you can use for any other posters or any other things that you are creating is to simplify the text matter that is there, the fonts that you are using. Suggest avoid using a serif based font, and serif font is something that has this line that you see over here, that's a serif, and a sans serif, which is a French word which means without serif, is one that is a clean, simple font where you don't have any of these things affecting. Because if all of you could squint your eye like this, if you squint your eye, make it smaller and try reading the text, you'll figure out one works better than the other.
Yes.
Of course, I can do this for you, but that's the magnifying element. But like simplification of the text also becomes important. And secondly, in India, for example, we have a lot of food items that are marked vegetarian, and you want to show a clear distinction between vegetarian and non-vegetarian food. But initially they used to use a green symbol, a green circle for vegetarian and a red circle for non-vegetarian. But the community or the people with low vision really complained about the fact that they could not segregate, and then they have recently changed to the green food being, the vegetarian food being the green circle and the non-vegetarian food being a red triangle. So now I have another way of comprehending information. I am no longer using color as my tool of giving out the information, but shapes. Something that is visually distinguishable, that okay, this is separate from something, right? And this is particularly from the lens of the color blindness. And also there in the exhibition there were some organizations that had simulations of color blindness. It was fantastic to just go around and see how, like, through different lenses that were put, and you could understand how literally the space changes for you. Okay, so yeah, so circling back to the impact of disability on social media, particularly for visual blindness, simple things to get started would talk about font, color contrast and shapes, and lastly the alt text. This we have already done, and now we move to the second part of it, particularly focusing on the auditory disabilities and understanding through the sense of hearing something, understanding the information that you're supposed to hear. Of course, one thing that now we see is the transcriptions, right? Like you have transcripts that are available, but you can still make it better. You could also, if you're putting up a video, if you have a script that is already written, you can always attach a downloadable transcript. So if anybody wants to download and read it or use their own device to hear it on their own phones or other devices, it becomes easy for them. And in this particularly, also understanding the information that's coming in, when you're doing, and this largely you could sit with your editing team or the video editing team about the sound and the background sound and the ambient sound that is there in the video. How do you play around with that? If it is if it is not necessary, you can reduce that. If it is needed to give the sense of the space, you can edit on it. Okay. With motor-based disability, this is largely focusing on how do you feature your things, how do you have your buttons that can be accessible. So on some websites, if you see, the information is very tight, and if I click on one word, the word next to it or the button next to it gets clicked. This talks about the use of your fine motor skills, like if you need to use if you're using a stylus or you're using a thumb that has a wider diameter of touch, then the information can spill. So these are just simpler ways of looking at how can you bring about change in your content. So I know there are people you have to run and you have to leave also, but we'll end on this where, like, post workshop, like if you're trying to make something, if you're trying to create some content, you can use any of these things to at least make sure that your content is accessible. And if you look at this green color, like is it affecting your eye when you're trying to read this? Yes? So if you see, there are 3 colors that I have used over here, and now we can understand the importance of contrast, but also the importance of the size and what draws importance when you're structuring that. So this was done on purpose. I know that I was not supposed to use this color and background, but just to simulate for the fact that if I hold this up, it is very clearly visible. I'm holding the mouse pad which is there on all your tables. It is a dark red mouse pad with white text and a big eye on it, or an exclamation mark. A slash. Okay. So yes, so exactly. So that talks about the color contrast. So this is what I was talking about over here. Like if you look at the contrast, that works well in some of the cases. Also, it is, if you're putting out content, like it is simple to have a lighter background and a darker text because it works that way easier. I particularly don't, that's my personal opinion, that I don't advocate for a black background and white text, because it gets too tight when you're reading. And that's based on my research that we've conducted with various different groups, and with a lighter background. Yes, it works. It in some, like I think you can also change the color, font color can be changed over here and background color can be changed. So this is one principle of universal design, that is adaptability, that as a user I can change my font color to any other color and the background color to some other color. So these are different tools of that, and if you would like to know more, please feel free to reach out, and more than happy to answer them. Thank you.